Alright, so in a different recording, I was about to go into a book review of this book called Plainsong, but wasn't able to do so, mainly because that recording carried on too long. So, as a result, here's a recording of the review of Plainsong. And again, as I mentioned in the previous recording, I am in a very cold place, and so if I start shivering, chattering, have to slow down for a second and warm myself up. It's all part of the plan. In terms of this review, I will kind of go into the book, and if there are some long pauses, that is because I'm searching the pages for quotes and just kind of things I want to say about the book. Anyhow, so the book itself is called Plainsong by Kent Haruf, and the reason I got it was it was in the Berkeley Free Library. Second is it had a National Book Award finalist medal thing on it, so I'm like, oh, it's probably a compelling piece of fiction. Let me read it. And on the back to you, there's a lot of praise for it. A New York Times notable book, New Yorker Book Award finalist, winner of the Mountains and Plains Booksellers Association Award. The Washington Post gave it a favorable review. Chicago Tribune, very favorable. The New York Times, very favorable. And then on the back, there's just a list of way more reviews that essentially give favorable things. LA Times, Newsday. A lot. And some other works by Kent Haruf is The Ties That Binds. In his critically acclaimed first novel, Kent Haruf delivers a sweeping tale of a woman in the American plains as told by her neighbor, Sanders Roscoe. As Roscoe shares what he knows about Edith's tragedies, they unfold. A childhood of pre-dawn chores, a mother's death, a violence that leaves a father dependent on his children, and forever enraged. Here's the story of a woman who sacrifices her happiness in the name of family obligation and then, in one grand gesture, reclaims her freedom. And that's The Tie That Binds. And then his other work that is also quite acclaimed is Where You Once Belonged. In Where You Once Belonged, acclaimed novelist Kent Haruf tells a small-town hero who's dealt an enviable hand and cheats with all of the cards. Fun-loving and independent, Burnett engages in the occasional prank, but when the boy turns into a man, his hijinks turn into crimes with unspeakable consequences. Now, 8 years after his departure, Burdett has returned to commit his greatest trespass of all, and the good people of Holt County may not be able to stop him. So, just a tiny bit more background. Open up the first page, and Wall Street Journal, Boston Globe, Baltimore Sun, Detroit Free Press, San Francisco Chronicle, and LA Times. More favorable reviews. Newsweek, Miami Herald, Time, Salon, USA Today, NPR, Entertainment Weekly. More favorable reviews. So anyway, this book was a national bestseller, so it's pretty widely reviewed in that sense. And so the author himself, his name is Kent Haruf, and he lives in Illinois and Colorado, where he's a professor at Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. And so I will probably cut this off, actually. So I'm going to talk about what I'll talk about in the next one, how I'll break this down. And so I want to talk about, one is just what I learned from the book, what I found compelling, words that I enjoyed, and tie this into some personal experiences in my life, and also tie this into another book that I am reading about why books oftentimes are considered more compelling than films themselves. So, I will leave you with that, and I'll continue on part 2.